folks. Hope you guys are having a great Friday. Let's draw some more maps. Kickstarter's linked here. We're drawing a map for King Leper. After that, I'm not sure if I'll just go straight into trying to draw the gigantic map that I have planned. That's for the Kickstarter for everyone who orders it, digitally or physically, will get the digital copy of the map. It's like a big giant map. I may try to make it more interactive too, like searchable or something like that. Let me turn this down a little bit. There we go. A little too bright. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Of course, the music's by me. People ask, hey, I like the music. Cool. Let me link the channel. So I don't put all this on my main channel because it would just kind of clog it up. So here's the music channel. All right. Let's see here. Let's just get going. Let's get into it. I got a lot going here. Where is it? All right. Let's pull this down here. Hold on, we gotta resize the window a little bit. Pull this down. There we go. What 5 things that I accomplished today? Well, I chopped up a fallen tree and rebuilt my neighbor's fence. That took most of my day up. Let's get this thing going here. All right. So one thing we could see here. I have most of the mountains done. I'm going to finish up the mountains real quick. Then we'll add in some other geographic features like forests and stuff. We'll kind of make we'll do the little waves on the coasts, which I showed you how I do those. And then we'll talk about text. I'll show some ways that I do text. Which I tend to use, the map behind me here, I tend to use just computerized text. This is Aniron, which is the credits text from Lord of the Rings. So I use it for maps. So if you're watching Lord of the Rings and you see Wingnut Productions, right, it's going to be this font. It's called Aniron, and you can get it. So it's a good font. It's a good fantasy font, I think. I think it looks good for stuff like this. I've considered writing, handwriting, doing calligraphy on the fonts, but I don't know. That's a different level. That's a different level of effort. So I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. Anyway, let's zoom in on this. One of the things about this is I really have to zoom in and work on a small area here because this is not a huge drawing tablet. If I had a 21-inch Wacom, that would be a lot easier, but this is a little 12-inch one, and I need to get it even. There we go. Now we're talking. Now it's easy. Just kind of finish this shading up here. Okay, and we could kind of get these see these little trails here. It's look good. I'm gonna create an extra little thing here if you want to. Not hard. This is all this music's the second half of that album, Liminality. I didn't quite finish doing the album. The album is so long, it's 2.5 hours, 3 hours long or something. I just picked 8 tracks, but the stuff that I do can be so long and expansive. It's actually difficult to it actually becomes somewhat difficult to do it. Make a best of album that would be 2 tracks. Can't really do that. So I think I did 8. 8, I think is what I did here. Okay. And we can actually shade these little hills too. Just get some shading on them. No big deal. All right, let's get a little bit further in here. There we go. It's pretty easy to kind of navigate around with the mouse for this kind of stuff too. There we go. It's a little easier. I'll just connect these. And then we can, I know I'm doing those on the wrong layer. Hold on. Let me. We go to the coast layer, which is going to have rivers and stuff, and we can kind of do more of, kind of sketch these in. Something like that. See? Perfect. Same thing here. We can make this go a little further. We can thicken this line up a bit. Make it nice and smooth here. We don't need it to be perfect. Remember, this is supposed to be a hand-drawn item. So the point is to keep it very, leave the human touches there. And of course, I can just go over to the eraser here and kind of, oops, go back to the mountains layer, kind of erase that. Kind of a fun track here. I'm just like doing like some piezo pickup shredding on top of this like floaty texture. It's nice fun. I'm doing well, Bad Plus. Thank you. This is a fun part. This is definitely a fun part. I like writing the stories though. To me, this is like, you know, I'm happy when people focus on the world of the Eternal Dream because I put a lot of thought into it. But it's just a place for me to tell stories. Oops. There we go, coast. You know, it's special to me because it's the place where I tell stories. And not simply because it's good for its own sake. That's my piezo pickup on my Parker, I think. No, I'm playing the. Wait, is this? Yeah, I'm playing the. Playing my Music Man on that track. Get that hollow kind of sound there. We don't need to worry too much about all these details. The thing is, I know myself, and I can easily spend like the entire time smoothing out details that just don't matter. There we go. Kind of shows that that's a body of water. Let's do the coast. Let's do the coastlines a little bit here, huh? These are always kind of tedious but fun, I think. Try to do 3 lines here. And as we get further away from the coast, the details become softer. So these little details here just become a little softer as you go. We'll go around this island. Oops. go down here. Oops, we got a little connect that. Let's connect that guy. Eraser here, just very finely erase that, and we'll connect it with a brush. Get rid of that seam there. We'll go around that island, and kind of up here, and around this island. There we go. Yeah, if I see like that one, I'm not too crazy about, so I'm actually going to fix that. Fix that line right there. Let me do that. Do that one a little bit better. Another advantage of doing digital is I can fix the mistakes. I don't have to live with them. Whereas if you are doing this ink on the page, it is possible to correct more mistakes. It is possible to correct ink mistakes with like an electric eraser. You can like scrape through the paper, but it's still not like the most ideal thing. So with digital, it's like you could just erase. And that's fantastic, you know? Now this island here, I'm gonna just kind of fix this a little bit. And we'll connect it here. Yeah. Then we'll go around here. Like that. When we do our third wave, we'll see how we like connect in with that one. You know. Which islands are named after your kids? None of them. No, I have a kid that's actually named after one of my characters. There's a book I wrote to my wife. So he's named after one of the characters, technically. But, you know, it's an old Dutch name, so it doesn't matter that much. Oops, let's go the other way. There we go. Now this one's going to need a little wave here. So I might need to just kind of go in here and erase this. Let's see what we'll do with this little area here. This guy needs a little wave around him, like this. And those waves just can communicate in, you know, in the black and white space that you have entered the realm of water. Okay. Back here. Let's actually erase a bit of that. This is an Ebo guitar. That's what this sound is. It's happening right now. Kind of an interesting thing to play around with if you've never used an Ebo before. I think they are really cool devices. Of course, now what you can do is you can get a thing called a Sustainiac. Or a sustainer. They used to come on Fernandez guitars, but Fernandez guitars is now kaput. That brand is gone, unfortunately. So you could get them on Fernandez guitars. They were an electromagnet built into the neck pickup. What do you think of Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archive? So I love the first book, Way of Kings, and I really don't like anything after that. You know, the debate, I feel like, seems to be like, when did it start getting bad? And if you really push it, it's Way of Kings. But like, Way of Kings still remains one of my favorite kind of epic fantasy books. Really, it's probably my favorite Sanderson book by a pretty wide margin. I'm not... I don't hate his style. It's just not really for me. It's not like... I tend to like a little bit more compact, pulp-like writing, like Michael Moorcock, as opposed to Brandon Sanderson. That's nothing against him. So the first Stormlight Archive book, Way of Kings, is really good. The second one, Words of Radiance, I found to be just not good. It just was not a good book. It could have been a good book, but we had just a lot of wasted time in it. The whole thing is like 1,000 pages or something, and about 200 pages of it is actual progress on the story, and the rest of it is just filler. You know, it is Kaladin ending up in jail for no reason. It's characters talking to each other about nothing. You know, it just really bored me to tears almost, because I remember that first book being so good. But you know, what am I gonna do? Like, I didn't write it, and people bought it anyway, so it's not like I'm the right guy to listen to on that. It's you know, I'm just the guy. I'm just a different fantasy author trying to make my living here as well. And Brandon Sanderson's generally a good guy. He like backs other people's projects and stuff. He's really nice. You know, people object. You know, he put transgender stuff in the newest book, and it's like, to me that's kind of expected from anyone in the mainstream. It's like you really do have to conform to like the greater Hollywood like moral zeitgeist, the greater liberal idea. But anyway, that first Stormlight Archive book is really good in my opinion. And so, you know, if people are like, hey, what Brandon Sanderson book should I start with? It's like, I would just read Way of Kings and enjoy it. And if you really want to go further, you can, but I don't feel like you really need to. I kind of like the way that one ends. It's very hopeful. It doesn't end with like a downer ending or anything like that. So, you know, that's cool. I didn't like Cal as early as Way of Kings. I found him whiny. In fact, I find most of the characters in Way of Kings too inactive. I never finished it. So Way of Kings was good. It had a good conclusion. I did like him. You know, but they get as all those complaints, dial them up to like 4 times what they were in the first book. That's the entire second book. It's whiny characters. It's characters like whining at each other for pages and pages and pages. And frankly, I just didn't like it. I just really did not enjoy it. Let me make sure these are not too small, because they might be. They're a little. Some of them are a little too small. They're a little too small right here. So I'm gonna redo some of them. No big deal. No big deal. I'm gonna pull them a little further out. Go. Now we'll do a third one. This third one is just the idea of the third one here is really just to get it kind of, it's in a much more general shape compared to the others. It's not dipping as much. It's just a little more smooth, as you can see. And this is how I do these little water effects. They look nice, I think. Oh. Got a little better position for drawing here. Yeah. So, anyway, but I did mention Crown of Sight was kind of inspired by Words of Radiance, in the sense that I realized how much of that book was just kind of wasted. Hi, Jared. I missed your message. Sorry. I hope you're having a great weekend too. Hold on. I might be having some technical difficulties. Let me see. Okay. If you can hear me, type something in chat. Anyway, yes, what inspired it was just there was so much wasted space that I was like, well, I'm going to write a book that the whole idea is it's just the last 100 pages. It's just the last battle. And that was the idea behind Crown of Sight. Was just, we're going to just do the last pages of the book. And that's all we're going to do. And I think it came out pretty cool. It's not everybody's favorite book, but that's okay. I remember I got a bad review from somebody who like didn't understand. I don't know, his reading comprehension was not good. Like he didn't understand what was being said. It's like, this guy would be comfortable with the sword. It's like the whole point of it being uncomfortable was that he wasn't used. It was his father's sword and not his. It's like, it's in the sentence. But, you know, you can't please everyone. And certainly you can't make, like, bad readers good readers. Yeah, there's such a thing as bad readers. I know, like, we all have this thing, like, I want everyone to read my book. There's no such thing as a bad... Yeah, there's bad readers. There's people I don't want to read my books. They're not worthy. If they don't like it, to hell with them. They should be lucky to read what I have to write for them. You know? There we go. Now we got to do this little island Bont. The island of Bont. Okay, great. Sorry, like Restream had this thing. It's like, reconnect your channels. I'm like, something going wrong. There we go. All right, let's take a look. All right. So far, so good. Probably have our text down here when we do the full thing. So that'll be good. The map is for this book, which you can back. It's already written, so it's not like you're backing me to write it, or it's already written. You're just buying, you're pre-ordering a limited edition hardback, or you can get the ebook here. So yes, it's for this. It's for King Leper. It's just a regional map of the entire giant world where all my books take place. Not all of them, but a big portion of the books I've written. Like 13 of them. So... yeah, that's what this is for. Let's see. Let's see if it's looking okay. Everything's looking okay so far. All right. We want to, you know, I can add some more river details or something, but it's not really necessary. I think we have enough space. All right, so now we can add another layer here, and we're going to add a. I'm going to call it. Wait, here's the dialog box. I'm going to call it features. I live in Oklahoma. We have crazy winds today. My office building, the sways that I could feel it when it does. I'm still a little motion sick. Oh, that's crazy. All right. Yeah, I have an uncle that just moved to Oklahoma. Just moved there. All right. So I think that's good. Okay, so now we have the features layer. What are we doing on the features layer? Well, short answer is we are going to no, I'm not doing... No. People have said this. Why aren't you just making that bigger? No. I don't want it to be exact. It's supposed to be hand-drawn because it has a different effect. So I'm not doing that. I appreciate the attempt to give me advice, but I don't do certain things for reasons, right? So I'm not making the island just bigger to create outlines. The point is that it's not precise. The point is that it's done by hand. So anyway, we're going to add some forests up here around these rivers. And that's called the Orangewood. And these are going to be the plains. And then we're going to have a marsh here. And I don't know what else we'll do. That'll probably be it. Yeah, the point is to not be precise. Because you won't get this effect if you just do that. It's not that I don't appreciate that, but you won't get the effect if you're doing that. All this effect will be missing. And the point is to have it be like I would do it on paper, right? It's a better workflow because I can erase things and be more precise and make decisions after the fact rather than drawing it on paper, digitizing it turning it into true black and white, all that kind of stuff. This is just a little better workflow this way. I used to do all this on paper. All right, let's get in here. So, let's look at one of my other maps to kind of see an idea of what I do here. I'll come back in and really fix the mountains before I ship this whole thing, but just kind of getting little trails on the mountain edges here. Tends to look really good, I think. So, very Tolkien-like. Of course, he did his own maps when he was alive. And it's a lot of fun. So you can do your own too. fixing these. And again, this is kind of how I'd fill it in on paper, right? Is I would just try to fill it in the little shadows as best as I could. All right. Okay. There's a river up here, so I'm going to draw it. Have that up there. Okay. So now on the features part, we're going to draw some trees. Let me show you. Let me see if I can find an example real quick of some trees. All right. Here's an example, right? So you just draw trees like this, and that's how I draw trees. You draw them from the bottom up, right? By the way, the next Moonsong novel it's called The Wolfwood. It takes place in here. And then we have one that takes place in the mountains, and then one that takes place up in here. So more adventures coming, eventually. All right. So that's more or less how I do the little trees. And this is how I do the little marshes, right? So we get marshes around deltas, and you get trees in different spots where there's a lot of good rain. You know? Didn't cartographers in the past try to make maps as accurate as possible, or were they not to scale and filled with embellishment? I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, yeah, the point was to make them accurate. But if you look at them, there's also all kinds of extra stuff on them that we don't see today. But the point of drawing the waves is not to make the waves precisely the exact line that's already there. It's to notate that there's waves as if a person, well, because I hand drew it, right? So that's the aesthetic. Just like how you would actually see a map drawn. It wouldn't be a copy-paste thing. Yeah, we could put a sea monster. Yeah, we could like draw a little sea monster. You used to see the four winds, you know. You used to see all kinds of things on maps that were pretty interesting, I think. I might erase these mountains. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. You see all kinds of fun things on like old maps. And you have to think that like if you're representing a pre-modern map, how did pre-modern people draw maps? Well, they just kind of drew them as a general area of where stuff was because they didn't have really precise coordinate measurements. Even if you look at stuff from the age of sail, you'll see the coastlines are very inaccurate. It's because they didn't have instruments to be like hyper precise, especially about longitude. So the longitude was often way off because you could measure latitude with the stars, but even then you can only measure latitude where you happen to be, and you'd be traveling around during the day. So you tried to make like a really exact log and map, but there's a lot of inaccuracies because you just didn't have great tools for doing this kind of thing. That's all. All right, so let's draw some. We're going to draw a little forest here. And I believe it starts here and goes up here. sure if I want it to be that thin. I'm going to make it about 7 point. Because I feel like... Oh, let's go 7. Okay. 7 point. And let's back out 1 tick. There we go. I'm just drawing them like this. That's about the scale that I like, I think. Let's see how that looks when I zoomed out. Kind of looking at it at what is a... Let me see. It'll be a little bit smaller than that. 6x9 there, about that size. Yeah, it's about... I think that's about the size I want them to be. So, draw a little sea monster. It's too small. You think AI art would be able to outcompete human art? Depends. It depends what you want it to do. Because AI images are not art because they're non-communicative. There's no artistic intent. Right? There's no such thing as an AI artist. It doesn't exist. Right? So the question then is like, will people use AI art exclusively over hiring artists? They already are, but that has more to do with what you're doing with the art. So work for hire, the work for hire stuff. Let me see the sizes on this. Hold on. Oh, there we go. How's that going to look? I think it'll look okay. Work for hire stuff, what you have to think about with work for hire stuff is, you know, for instance, I'm hiring someone to do art for an ad. You know, I've seen lots of artists get really upset that someone's using AI art for an ad. Well, the thing is, it's an ad, right? It's not art for the sake of art, in the way that an artist would really think about his art as being some sort of communicative thing between him and another person. So it's purely commercial. It's for hire. And yeah, the artist would like to get paid more. That's really what it comes down to. But, you know, it's ultimately an ad. It's the same thing with the book cover, right? The art is not the book cover. It's the book. So, you know, artists are always like, how do I get a cheap book cover because I can't sell enough books? And AI is an answer to that. The other answer, which we've been using for these 25 years almost now, is Photoshop. So you do a Photoshop book cover, which is much cheaper than hiring a real artist. And I noticed that the people on the anti-AI bandwagon, one of the big types of people there were book cover designers, right? So book cover designers, right? The prompt is not intent. That's not artistic intent. It doesn't count. That would be like me saying, I'm the artist because I hired Da Vinci. Da Vinci has the intent. A program can't have intent. It can only run code. Intent is always fundamentally human. So AI images exist. Do they have artistic merit? Not really, because they're not communicative. But they can serve a purpose, right? Which is they can look attractive. So they can have, I suppose, a layer of aesthetic value, right? They can look good. Lots of people like AI art in terms of the way it looks. So it can look good, but it can't really have the intent that an artist has. That's just not something that it's possible for it to have. So when it comes to doing something with good artistic intent that communicates something, AR literally cannot replace that. It's just it's not really like a possible thing for AI art to replace that. Okay. But it could replace the artist drawing commercial art. You know, the artist that's like drawing commercial art for, you know, whatever, making ads, making book covers, which are commercial art. It could replace them. It's already outcompeting them. It certainly outcompetes them, even if it's not at the highest quality, right? Like I paid an artist for King Leper, and so you can look at this art. It's very nice. You know, here it is. You know, Jesse White did this. It's beautiful. It's great. Okay. Maybe it can't do something that's that good, but it's free. It costs nothing. Or it's so low cost that it's almost impossible to compete. So I don't think it can actually replace real art because it can't be human and can't have intent. Most of AI in general is kind of overhyped bullshit. And that seems to be the consensus among more of the tech literate people out there, is that it's just not it's not really intelligence at all. People love their science fiction ideas. Its usefulness is pretty mild. And the hopes we had for it like being really useful have turned out to be mostly bunk. And the big reason that it's being pushed is to inflate hardware prices, right? To have a reason for hardware to continue getting better when our programs actually aren't getting better at all. And relative increases in the strength of the hardware is not yielding any extra quality, right? So that's I guess I don't want to call it a consensus, but it's what I'm hearing over and over again from the people who know and who really know about it and who have been in the tech industry for, 20 years more than me. They're like, nah, it's mostly overhyped BS. It's not like it's not. People want it to be. It's like a human-like intelligence is what people imagine it to be, but it's not that, and it's not going to be that. But it can have some uses, right? The thing that I've seen from it is mostly like, hey, it's Google kind of on steroids. And you're like, oh, well, that's cool, right? Google on steroids. You can use it to get maybe a little faster, maybe like a summation of what you would Google. But you can't really trust it. That's the other thing too, is like if you can't trust the AI to give you accurate information, then it actually is useless. Right? So how many like AI responses would you really trust? If you asked your AI assistant or whatever, hey, what does this mean? And it's like, here's a meaning. And you're like, okay, do I trust that meaning? Or is it something that like I actually shouldn't trust this thing? And the universal response is actually you shouldn't trust the AI. It's usually wrong and it hallucinates a lot. And so for people looking to hope the AI will solve, for instance, math problems, it's like the problem is you don't know if it's actually solving that math problem this time, or if it's actually like hallucinating the solution to the math problem, right? So if it's hallucinating the solution to the math problem, like you're done. It is useless. It is now a useless thing. Let's see if we want to add any more forests or features. I'm gonna add a little marsh at the bottom, right? So. When you said Da Vinci, I thought you meant the actual artist. Well, if I could go back in time and tell Da Vinci to paint something, Da Vinci's the artist, not me, right? I don't become an artist. Like, I don't have the artistic intent by telling him, paint a picture of this, right? It's his intent for how he wants to do it. And it's, there's a lot that goes into artistic intent. It's not just, I want something pretty, right? That's what people who aren't artists think, because they're not interacting with technique or history or gestures or meaning, right? And the AI does that. It can't communicate deep meaning in a painting, right? Like let me give you an example, almost a meme worthy one, right? All right, let's look at this painting. Okay. All right, here's this painting. Let's look at this painting. Okay. All right. Okay. Ooh, this is a cool painting. People turn this into a meme. Okay. So when Caspar David Friedrich painted this, who told him to paint it? Who prompted him? What information was he using to generate this image? Right? It's infinite and nothing, right? He's telling us something with this painting, and he's got all kinds of gestures in there that are more than just their appearance. There's a deeper meaning to what he's communicating when he paints something. Okay, he does these great landscapes. Sometimes there's things that are just, he would do these things like this. Like, what is the meaning behind it? What is he telling you? What's the emotion there? He has emotion and he's putting it on a canvas. A robot has no emotion. It can't have an intent. It can't have an idea that it wants of its own. It wants to communicate and use its technique to do that. It can't invent new techniques either. It can only rehash techniques that, and it's not even techniques. It can only sort of, it can generate images based on images that have been put into it. Caspar David Friedrich does this, right? Like he's seen other painters paint. He's painted paintings himself, but he can come up with ideas like, you know what, I'm going to use a palette knife to do this line, and it's going to have this very particular look that I want. You know, an AI can copy the way that that line looks, but it can't think of how to do it for real, nor can it have any emotion behind anything, right? There's nothing behind AI art. There's nothing deeper. It's just an image. So for me, I think that's fine for commercial art. Maybe it might be an unpopular opinion that it's okay to have AI art for commercial art because there's no real artistic depth to commercial art. Other people will object. Like they'll say, "Oh no, I think commercials are art." I'm fine to listen to the counter argument. I really am. But like, Budweiser is not hiring you to make an artistic statement, and when they do, it goes horribly awry. They're hiring you to sell beer, so they want to get attention, right? So if you draw, Budweiser doesn't have you draw anything, but you have a picture of a really beautiful woman, eyes get on it, and then they see the Bud Light logo, right? So that's how advertising works. It's the same thing with a book, right? You have a really beautiful image that evokes what the reader might want, and then they're willing to click on the book on Amazon, or they're willing to pick it up off the shelf in a bookstore and look a little deeper. Doesn't mean that the artist who maybe did that painting didn't have some kind of depth he wanted to communicate, but that's not the purpose of it. Whereas if you're looking at Caspar David Friedrich, there's a purpose to this art that is deeper than I'm advertising Bud Light or I'm advertising a book. There's just something deeper going on. And because AI can't have that deeper layer, it's not sapient, it's not sentient, it feels nothing and it thinks nothing. It doesn't have thoughts, right? It's a program. So even using the word AI, it tends to be for large language models, tends to be evoking ideas in people's mind that I don't think are real. And you can look up plenty of comments from people who are technical experts in this field to get a better explanation of that. But I'm giving you kind of the artist perspective, which is that to expect it to replace art is really to not know what art is about, I guess. Like even postmodern art has some sort of layer of communication to it, right? Even if it's rebelling against the idea of beauty, it's trying to do something. Do you know what I mean? Whereas AI art is just mixing images that have been before to make something that you said to make. And that's cool. It's cool that it can do that. And it would be cool if, people could use that cheaply, but it can't be like real art. I think a lot of people are thinking too much about art that's done to a purpose, art that's done for hire, rather than art, which is art. You know what I mean? Like you can have AI music that makes music that sounds like Lionel Richie or something, right? But it can't be Lionel Richie. It can't really replace, it can replace Lionel Richie only because Lionel Richie has already sung those songs. So it can't be new and expressive and interesting on its own because there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Sometimes I question how intentional artists really are. Many don't understand their own art or don't seem to when you ask them about it. Some are bad artists. But I mean, certainly when I look at romantic period art, which is 19th century art, there is such a devolution between the 19th and 20th centuries. It's perverse, to be honest. To go from this to Picasso is an insult to humanity. I know that there's people who like Picasso. You're wrong to like him. I actually don't hate Picasso, but there's such a devolution in beauty to where it's almost satanic. It's almost satanic how modern art inverts everything that came before it. It's in rebellion against beauty. It's in rebellion against emotion, rebellion against purpose and meaning, right? It's in rebellion against everything. And postmodern art is really in rebellion against meaning, which is a rebellion against art itself. We're going to make art that's anti-art. So is anti-art art? That would be the big question of postmodernism. And it invites you to ask that, right? Like John Cage would invite you to ask, like, what is music? This piece is about you questioning what is music. It's just all meta layer stuff. But at a certain point, shouldn't you make something beautiful and moving that people love? You know, like the only places in the 20th century where you still had beautiful music was predominantly in the secular space. Predominantly in the sacred space or the popular space, right? But the quote art music phenomenons of the 20th century, hardly anybody listens to them now. They're grating. There's no harmony to them. They're actively rebelling against harmony with 12-tone stuff, or they're rebelling against form with serial music. People don't like that stuff. Instead, they'd rather listen to so-called avant-garde stuff like Velvet Underground, which is hardly avant-garde compared to Milton Babbitt or John Cage. But they'd rather listen to that and think that that is extreme than like listen to the real stuff from the 20th century that was truly in rebellion against music. Yeah. AI assistants that lie on purpose. That'd be interesting. Yeah, they do that now. The worst thing about AI is all these companies trying to program it with weird morality programming. Yep, and that makes it useless, right? The morality programming makes it really a useless product. That's the unfortunate thing, really unfortunate. But here we are. All right, let's add some little marshes here. This is easy stuff. Got a little bayou here. Okay. Another feature. Now we could put some more wood somewhere else if we want to. You know, like I imagine there's some forests up here. This is, by the time we're here, we're getting up towards Lotharia, which is going to have some other forests, but we don't need to name them for this project. So, yeah. Now let's do some more forests here. We'll keep it simple. And we have another one kind of up here. Do some trees here. No, they're too big. Do them smaller. There we go. Do some kind of the first line of the trees here. Like this. They kind of look like little wieners, but whatever. When you see them in context, they're not as wiener-like, I guess. You can also do like these kind of trees, right? You can do like, you know, you can do that for trees. right? It's like, why am I not worried about AI writing? It's like, because my goal is not to, believe it or not, like my goal is not to just sell books that people want to read, right? I'm not selling isekai wolf humping fantasy books or vampire romance. Okay. I'm selling good books. So, yeah, I have intent, I have meaning, I have things I want to communicate with my books. If I tell the AI to write a story, and maybe it's like really advanced, and it can write a story with like, here's the plot, here's the characters, here's the setting, here's everything you need to know. AI, go write a story for me. And compare this to Prince of Twilight or King Leopard, right? There's so many layers of symbolism in Prince of Twilight that I don't even know if people got it. I don't know if people understood what I was doing with that particular book sometimes. Because it was, like I said, there was just a lot there. I think most people will get it, to be honest. I think most people are going to understand kind of what I was doing in the book. But, you know, the point is that I had symbolism that's in the book. Can an AI do symbolism? If you tell it to do it this way, maybe the symbolism will be there, but it can't think in the micro of like how to really draw attention to that. You know, it's just not made for that. You can have it write your blurb for your book though, and it might do a really good job, like summarize this book and write a blurb for the back of the book, and it might do a good job. A lot of authors hate writing blurbs because it's writing an ad, right? You're writing an ad copy. And so like writing an ad copy, you know, authors don't like to write ad copies. We don't. We think ad copies are annoying. I wasn't sure. Okay. I think that's probably good for our features and stuff. We added some forests, some marshes. Our mountains look good. Let's see if we can do the text. Plot twist, giant mushroom forest. Welcome to Zinger Marsh. I really like realistic topographic maps best, but the stylized fantasy maps make the most sense for this genre of fiction. Yeah. Well, you could do like a topographical map too. I mean, there's the thing. The worst thing about AI is all these companies trying to so it did that. So the other thing about AI is that it takes up huge resources, hardware resources, electricity resources, and what value has it delivered? What value has AI delivered so far for all of that investment? What's the ROI on large language models? Is it high ROI or is it low ROI? Has there been labor savings or has there not? Now, there's been labor savings in terms of book designers, right? Like you guys could have an AI do a book cover for you and it can be pretty good, you know? Or you can have it do the image and just put the words on it. And you don't really need to hire a book cover designer to because the book cover designer is $200 instead of an artist, which is $800. You hire the cover designer who photoshops a bunch of crap together to make a cool looking book cover, and it does look cool, but and it does fit because everybody does those now, but they do them because they're cheap, not because they're good. Or you can have an AI generate a Photoshop of it there, you know. So anyway, all right. So let's look at our locations. I have them on a separate notes over here. We're going to make another layer here. New layer. And this layer is going to be called dots. So I'm going to have a dots layer. And then we're going to have another layer, which is going to be, and then we'll basically have all the type in a folder on top of that. Okay. Land of Make-Believe by Yarrow Hess. Apparently it also inspired Matt Groening when he was a kid. If you did give an AI a very detailed plot to write a novel, I suspect that you spend more time pounding the script to spit it out in a workable book than to write one yourself from scratch. Yeah, and other artists, I've talked to a couple of other authors who have just tested it out. it hasn't been a while, it's been a while since they've tried again, but like the editing required to like polish the AI manuscript is so much that it's actually easier to just write a new draft, right? You'll write a new draft more quickly than you will do an AI. And other people said it'd be better to dictate a book and then have the AI like edit it into good grammar, and then you do a final pass edit. And it's like you're still like you're trying to save the labor of thinking intensely about the sentence you're writing and putting the letters on the page. And I'm telling you, you're gonna, when you're engaged in the details, that's what's going to produce a better product than if you are hoping the AI will fill in the details for you. Right? Engaging in the details is where a lot of the artistic skill comes from. It's writing those good sentences. It's, is an AI going to write a great opening line? It's possible, but is it going to agonize over it the way you are and write 50 different versions and actually properly evaluate them? Remember, another part of creativity is valuation. Looking at it saying, this is valuable for this reason. An AI can't assign value to things. It has no values. Only people have values. So, you might be able to. I know that the market is really swamped with AI right now. It's not hard to compete against AI because it's shit. The difficulty is that it creates so much noise that your book cannot be found, is what happens now. So readers it's possible people will just stop buying ebooks because of AI. I said there would be an ebooks crash, and there was. A lot of people didn't see it because what really happened was the total amount of ebooks being published grew to such a large degree, and there's no extra readers to read them, that everybody was selling less and less and less, fewer and fewer copies of their book. So people are like, what happened? My book business collapsed overnight, but it seems like the industry is doing fine. It's like, well, those total sales might not have gone down, but they're divided amongst more and more and more books year after year. So you're making fewer and fewer sales, especially organic sales. And then with AI, the quantity of books has grown exponentially, and the quantity of books that are worth reading is, as a proportion to that quantity, infinitesimal now. There's a tiny percentage of the total books you can find on Amazon that are anywhere worth reading. The rest are garbage. They're going to waste your time and your money. So I think a lot of readers, I know people have complained about like AI cookbooks. AI cookbooks, who was it? I think it was JL. Like, she made a comment like, she knew someone that got an AI cookbook and all the recipes tasted bad and were weird. It's like, yeah, people can get fooled because it looks like a human made the book. Like, it looks well formatted. But the recipes are junk because a human didn't make them and prepare them and taste them and make notes about the best way to like cook them, or like, you find people that have like little recipe secrets, like, oh, this is what I do. I put coffee in my chocolate cake, and then when the cake is halfway done, I turn the temperature on the oven down 50 degrees, but I don't open the oven. You do things like that. So there's been at least 3 ebook crashes, each one bigger than the last. Yes. And everybody's, ebooks were like a get rich quick thing. Now I saw ads for like, go to my seminar on how to have an AI write your books and you'll just make passive income from that. It's like, no, you won't. Right? Everybody's trying to make a buck on a scam instead of just doing the work. And the truth is, what are they attracted to in the book market? 2 things: money and status. So they want people to like them for being an author. It doesn't work. People don't really care. Number 2 is making money. It's way harder than you think it is. It's way harder than you think it is to make money in this business. The big 5 publishers are having a rough time of it, and they have all the resources you can imagine, and a giant customer base, and they still are having trouble making money. In the publishing business, it's really hard. So, yeah, it's like, of course it is. People want to get rich quick, and they want other people to like them, but they don't have anything to say, right? That's the whole thing about being an artist, is like, I have something to say. I have something to communicate, and a way that I want to communicate it. I have a vision. An AI can't have a vision, and that's okay. It can be a good tool. Maybe an AI could make a sketch layer for some artistic project, right? And then you can use some of that for your project, right? Maybe an AI could make a book cover for you for a book that you wrote. Maybe AI could write the blurb because it writes, and then you could use that as a guide to write your blurb or something, right? There's lots of uses for AI, but none of them are like highly valuable, right? None of them are artistic. People have said, we'll reach a future where people will just have AI make the art that they want to see, and they'll be in their own bubble, just reading isekai fantasy over and over again. And I'm like, people will get bored. People get bored of toys. They'll like it for a little while. They just like how they like the AI stuff in Skyrim. Now the people can have conversations with you in Skyrim. Yeah, that's fun for about 10 minutes to realize the game is not having conversation with NPCs. It's killing things and getting treasure. So yeah, it's cool, but people get tired of their toys. I've definitely wanted to steal a general composition from an AI image before. Yeah. And now the thing is, big artists, when this stuff was coming out, they were like Noah Bradley was like, yeah, here's how I use AI. I have it write this sketch image, and then that's like my bottom layer, and then I do the painting on top of it because it'll come up with all of these cool ideas, and things are already arranged, and I don't have to think about proportions. It's already there. I just start doing the details on top. And people have just kind of forgotten about that. He did it back when it wasn't controversial to say you were going to use AI to make your art. In fact, I'll find it for you real quick. Because I don't know if he's gone back on that or not. Well, I can't. There it is. Here it is. How to sketch with AI. I'll just link it. Of course, Noah Bradley was a guy who got canceled and didn't realize that he got canceled. He just never changed his outlook. Put things in perspective, when most of our foundational stories never earned a single cent for their authors, if they even got them recognition in the first place. Ain't that the truth? David Shapiro on YouTube says he uses AI to proofread his books and claims it does a good job. Well, it can. I use like Grammarly and stuff, but again, we're using the word AI in such a broad, like we're using a proofreading program. Okay, totally cool. Like Grammarly is really good at catching certain kinds of typos I do, like repeating words, or using than instead of then, which you do sometimes when you're typing, things like that for whatever reason the Microsoft spell checker doesn't pick up. But like, would we claim that somebody is cheating if they used Microsoft spell checker in 1990? No one would, right? No one would say that they were bad or like cheating, but now all of a sudden it's controversial to use a program to check your grammar, right? I don't want to hire a proofreader for hundreds of dollars to read the book and then still not get all the typos because no matter what, you're going to miss some. It's always going to happen. I'd rather use the program and like get feedback from early readers and stuff and catch them. Because I used, I used grammar checkers. My wife read the book. She still found a bunch of little errors. So there's probably going to be typos. There's always a couple typos that ship, no matter what. No matter how thorough you are, or no matter how many people you have read it before release, you're always going to get a couple through, and then other people will find them. It just happens. Generative AI is the problem. Yeah, I can see that, right? There's a difference. I think there's a difference between using AI to edit grammar and using AI to generate an image that then you say is yours, right? And to me, the actual moral problem with AI is, you fed a bunch of images into these large language models to train them. And how did you acquire that data? Did you pay for it? Like, did you give the artist any kind of credit, right? Did you give him money for that? Is that a valid use? Is that fair use? Do you need permission? I don't know. I actually don't know the answers to that. But that's like the actual moral. The moral question is, are you using somebody's art and then training an AI to replace them and not paying them? Degrees Kelvin. Is that wrong? degrees Kelvin. Is that wrong? Or did I write this? Is that wrong? Is it wrong to say degrees Kelvin? I actually don't know. I don't know this. Kelvin doesn't use degrees. It doesn't. You would just say Kelvin? You just say like 300 Kelvin? So you just say, oh, you just say Kelvin. Okay, I didn't know that. See, I learned something. I've been saying degrees Kelvin my whole life. The magnitude of a Kelvin is the same as a degree Celsius. It's supposed to be an absolute unit. It's an absolute unit. I hear that. This bunny is an absolute unit. There's a mom joke in there. Units are not funny. All right, what was I doing? Okay, yes, let's put some dots. I have some notes for dots. Where are they? My sketches. Here's a sketch. All right. All right, this should be easy. We're going to do this layer in red, in a nice, beautiful red color. So let's go down here and make it red. Make it blue. Make it red. I like a little dark red. I want it a little bit mixed with black. There we go. Then we're going to make it, let's make one that's like, let's try 100 point. See how big that is. How big is 100 point? Okay, that's pretty good. So that's going to be the city. The city is Hespero. And it is going to be out here somewhere. Put it out there. Okay. Now we have, where's Calisora? Calisora is right there on the Talaros River. Oh, I forgot a couple features in Calisora. I need to actually add a couple mountains now that I'm looking at that map. I'm like, oh, I left some stuff out. All right. Calisora is going to be right about here. Oops. We're going to click it, right? Click. Oh, I can also do this. What am I thinking? There it is. Boy, I'm a big dummy. Boom. And so there's our two big cities. I don't think there's anything else here. This is the Orcish Drylands up here. Boop, boop. What else? Your clothes, make it red, make it blue. There's a manga artist named Duromion who uses a lot of generative AI to sketch out his art before detailing it. It has drastically lowered the quality of his art, though. Well, that's an interesting thing to notice. I'm a magician. Your clothes are blue. Yeah, and I have to think, like, what if you used AI to generate the background instead of using a stock photo or something and blurring it or, like, painting over it? Would that be wrong? I don't know. I mean, it's a labor saving. And it's not the subject, but other people would say yes. And also, like, the fact that you're not putting that human touch on it, it makes it worse. But there's a good example. Did the AI make his art better? It made him able to do more of it, but I don't think it made him better, right? Maybe he could get things done more quickly. Like Greg Land traces everything. Do we call out Greg Land for tracing? The answer is we do. But where is Orchid Landing? If Orchid is up there, we have Briance Estate is going to be, I think it's right here. No, that's Estimate. And we have Targara is up here. No, Briance Estate is way up here. So there's where that town is. Estinmet is over here. Then that place is up there. Tartara, put that in there. We'll come up with a name, Black Marsh or something. And then, is there anything up here? Oh yeah, Orchid Landing. Orchid Landing is up over here. There. And do we want to put something down here? We'll put Landera. And yeah. Okay. I think those are going to be our dots. You know, we could put another place down here that's like a port city. There's going to be like a port city. So let's size this up a bit. And we'll just give it a name. Doesn't matter. I'll come up with a name right now. Harbor. Put a name there. Bont, Datalasi. You know. This is going to be Lotharia up here. I put like a little arrow for Lotharia. Well, there's a Mangus Comics. Yeah, so I've seen an artist that uses 3D backgrounds, like generates the backgrounds in like a 3D program using like assets and then draws things on top of them, you know. Recently, Call of Duty got into hot water for using AI for some artwork. Yeah. What are we going to do? Okay, so there's the dots. Now, the question is whether we want to like do our letters or we want to, I think I'm just going to use, you know, type letters. Let me show you how we usually do this. So we're going to do the horizontal type tool and we're going to type in the name of this place, which is going to be, you know, I might change what monitor I'm using here. Hold on, because I'm not going to be drawing. So let's do this. There we go. Put it on the bigger. Give us a little bit more area to work with here. That's nice and big. Okay, let's go right here. We can get a nice big look at what we're doing here. Lorem Ipsum. That's not what it's going to be called. It's going to be called Unia. And we're going to change this to Aniron. We have a bold and a regular. Let's do regular. We could also, I mean, I guess we could go to bold. What does bold look like? A little thicker. I think we're going to use regular for the larger ones. Now, from here, we can do a bunch of things to kind of get it the way we want it to. So first of all, I like to start with a spacing of 0. This is nice. The kerning between R and O is bad, but we'll fix that after we do this. So what we can do here is we can actually start to kind of change how the paths work. In Inkscape, I actually kind of like Inkscape a little bit better for this because it'd be a good place for a shipyard. Yeah, this would be a good naval base. You're right. I agree. Yeah. Get it kind of curved here. Let's just start with like some straight words. Like this is Ronia. And from here, we can kind of warp it, right? Warp arc. Usually what we want. And just like that. And we can kind of turn it in whatever angle we want. And we'll have another one here that, let's say, Ardaland. Same idea. And then we'll do the same thing. Warp it a little bit. Shrink it down. Like that. Ideally, we don't want to cross like too many landmarks with the type, right? We want it to seem big enough that like this is like obviously a cool land. So I'm just kind of reuse the placement that I used in the other one. This one was kind of hard to do. I'm trying to remember how I did this one. I think I put it on a path, which was a little bit imperfect, but it worked. All right. So this one is... Let me find my documents here. Hold on. It's not the most up-to-date document, but it has what I need. Down in the Dramatis Personae section down here, right? So I've got all these places. That's right, I named him Avon. Yeah. Okay, so this is this up here. Pocket landing. Be over here. There you go. Orchid Landing. Another thing I like to do is we can kind of shrink the spacing a little bit. And then for this one, we want it to be bold. So the small, contrary to popular belief, the smaller the letters are, the more you want them to be bold. A lot of people think, okay, if it's big, we use bold for big letters. It's like, nope, you want regular for big letters and you want bold for small letters. As the size shrinks, the weight of the letters needs to go up a little bit. So that's the best way to do it. Now this is, what is this place? Oh, there's another town in here. This is Gallatin, though. So let's do this one here. Gallatin. Make it bolt. There we go. Smaller. Oops. A little too small. And let's shrink this to like, there we go. Then warp it like so. Okay. Go. That looks good. Gallatin. Let's do another one here. Aston Met. I got it's already bold. It's going to be down here. That one we probably don't need to do any kind of warping at all. It's kind of there. And then we'll have another one here that is going to say, no, what am I looking through here? Targra. My music paused. Been doing this so long, my music paused. Okay. You can also do it like this. I like it better here. And again, we can hit this and just warp it just a bit. There we go. Just that much. And I can... Perfect. All right. Okay. All right. I need to come up with a name down here. Let's not forget Calisori here down here. There's Calisora. And then we need another city down here, which is going to be... Oh my gosh, what's it called? Like that. Make sure I didn't... Oh yeah, Hespero. Duh. Make this bold. There we go. Yeah, put a do Landera. Landera's very small, so. Okay. Another one here. This to be center. No. We need a small one here. It's going to say just nope. Black River. Let's just use a we could even like do it like this, you know, or let's see here, some different ones we can do here. Oops, I didn't want that. We can tilt Hespero a little bit. I kind of want it to be somewhere down here. But this is probably the best place to put it because, you know, the Black River's really goes all the way through. You can actually put this on a path. So I haven't done that in a while. Let's see if I could do it. Put this here for now. The results are often not great. I'll just put it that way. Results are often not great.
Shop our vast inventory of safety products at Grainger.com. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
All right. I'm just going to link the, let me link the Kickstarter again. Grab yourself a copy of the book. And I'll do one here that says Black Marsh. Could call it the Black Bayou, but that's kind of a, to me, that's just inextricably southern United States. So. All right. This is called High Toll up here. High Toll. Any other places that need to be labeled? Oh, Talaros River. See, this one, I put it on a path. Should like almost get out that map and just copy that over. It'd be less effort. Putting stuff on a path is often, like I said, it just often produces like a bad effect. So I try not to do it because it gets, see how these are like just not spaced well? Really at all. There we go. I'm going to go bold. And there we go. And then, yes, of course, we need the Orcish drylands, right? Orcish dry lands. We also call it the Orcish Wildlands. Let's do it like this. Oh, come on. Orcish Drylands, and we will make it a oops. Make it a curve. That. And then we'll just kind of arc it around here. All right, there you go. Okay, stuff is getting good here. Getting good. I'm gonna do it like this. Helaros River. Shrink it down small. And I'm just gonna use a simple arc. I remember doing that path for that, and it was just, gosh, it was just such a pain in the butt. I had to like redo it so many times to like get it right. I'm like, no, let's just use an arc if possible. You can put text on a path in Photoshop, and it often works really good. But it depends kind of how you're choosing to use it. I remember why I did it now, because the river really curves away in a crazy way, you know. Oh, I could warp it in a different way here. It looked like you can actually like be really precise with your bins that you want here, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I see why I did it the way I did it before. Of course, you know, I could put it here. Put that there. It looks... Alright, whatever. Alright, I might try the path part. Draw a little path here. Oops. Okay. And where is it? Take off. You can actually select this and oops, nope. Nope. Not what I wanted. I wanted just this. And I think we can put it on the path. No, that's not what I wanted. I haven't done this in forever. Give me a second, I'm gonna look it up. Oh, you know what? I'm doing this in reverse. Let's pull this away. So we select this. Then we select the type tool. And we can... Nope. Alright, let's hide this. Let's get out of the way. There it goes. Nope, that didn't work. That is not working at all. In Inkscape, it's Inkscape where you can just click it and put it on the path. In this one, you have to kind of make a path and then type on it. I got it to pop up a second ago. Oh man, my poor ears. Ears are so bad. I wouldn't call those, I wouldn't call the maps of the past like surprisingly precise compared to modern maps. They were precise for the time, but they weren't like precise. That's just, I don't know, that's just not accurate. That's just wrong. But the ancients also didn't believe the Earth was flat, so that's always like been a fun little what's the word? Chestnut. Nope, don't want to move that. Turn that off. Do I have a path? Where's the path? Oh, the path disappeared. All right, we'll do that path again. Let's try it again. Okay. There it is. I didn't do it. I don't know why this is not working today. Try it again. I'll figure it out later. Before I ship this thing. Could be that I did the path too weird. I don't know. Let's try it again. There you go. Let's shrink that. It could be because it's too giant. Let's go down to 12 point. There it goes. Yeah, it was too giant to actually like show it. I'll go down even smaller. 6 point. There it is. Okay, it's not quite perfect, but I think we can edit the paths here. Kind of make this a little different. All right. Now that I know what I'm doing, I'm going to do a little better path here. You can see why like the effect often doesn't work well. And it's because go down to 6 point. Like, see these angles? You know, we got these bad angles. Let's size it up to about 8, 9. No, let's do 8 point. Yeah, so we have to edit these things so that like this is not as, oops. Suppose we could, there we go. Get this going here. Curve this path a little bit. I don't want to do that one. All right, let's do. Actually, I wonder if I can pull this warp on. All right, let's do this again. Now that I'm remembering what I'm doing, I haven't had to do this in forever. And like I said, I did this in. I'm trying to remember what I did before. I did Inkscape, where you can just like put it on the path. It's really easy. This one, see, this is not very good. We'll delete it. Can I delete it? Am I allowed to delete it? Delete it. Got this. All right, there's another path here. It's blank. All right, we'll try one more time. We'll get this one. In your opinion, what makes a good antagonist? The belief that the Earth was flat was a temporary fad in the age of exploration. Humanity knew before and after with mathematical certainty the Earth was round. Yeah. The reason Columbus was able to get his expedition is he miscalculated how far around the Earth was. You know, it was inaccurate. Hey, David, in your opinion, what makes a good antagonist? What makes a good villain? Well, they have to have a reason to do what they're doing, I think, which is good. And I think it's good if they... Let's do a freeform pen tool. So I think it's good if they have a reason for doing what they're doing. And... for some reason, the rest of this is not showing up. Okay. All right, let's select this. Let's delete the whole thing. All right, let's try that again. No. There we go. All right, that's a little better. Then we can just put that here. That works a little bit better. You can turn it a little bit. Okay. I'm calling that good for now. Again, like putting text on the path, it often just, the effect doesn't look good. Just kind of depending on what you're doing. Like right here, what I think I'm going to do here is kind of pull this up here, like this, kind of continue to turn it up, and then I can just bend it a little bit. Like that. And turn it back down here. There you go. Boom. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Gets everything kind of out of the way. Here's Artaland. Okay. All right. Shrink Ronia just a bit. It's like really overpoweringly big. You like it kind of more vertically. like that. You can also use like different fonts for this kind of thing. There's a lot of fun stuff you could do. So yeah, what makes a good antagonist? Well, they have to be have a reason for doing what they're doing. They have to be competent at doing what they're doing. They have to represent a real threat to the protagonist. They don't have to be evil, right? So if you want them to be really evil, you can just show them doing evil things, right? That's easy. They beat up a kid, they kick a dog, it's easy to do that. But the main thing is they want to be competent and a real threat. So like Darth Vader's a good villain. I'm trying to think of like a bad villain that's just like no threat to anyone. If the villain is just getting kicked around all the time and isn't really a threat to anyone, then he's probably not a good villain, in my opinion. Shrink Calisaur a little bit. There we go. And Hespero. Shrink just a bit. Oh yeah, we got Bont. We have to have Bont down here. I don't have any stories on Bont, but it's an island. It's a little island. The Isle of Bont. When designing your world, do you pick a theme for your country names, nation states, races, or they just picked out a random name generator? Many of the books I've read seem to follow the latter. There's a reason for it. So Ronia, it's named after the Rhone River. So it's a bit like, in terms of what it represents, it's supposed to be similar to Avignon, right? Southern France, say Cisalpine Gaul, so the names are Gaulish. A lot of them are drawn from early medieval names. Ardaland, meanwhile, kind of represents northern Italian stuff, really towards the Renaissance. So if you read Needle Ash, you'll find that Ardaland and Ferrala are very much like the northern Italian states around the Renaissance in terms of their culture and the armor they use and things like that. But of course it's my fantasy world, so I can do whatever I want to do with that, and so I do. But that's more or less what you get with that. Oh yeah, the orange wood. So we got to do one more here. It's called oh no, I need another. Oh, down here. Orange wood. And actually it'll be called the orange wood. The orange wood. We want it to be bold. We want it to be a lot smaller. And it goes up in here, the orange wood. And it goes across our forest up here. Like this, the orange wood. Then, of course, we're going to pull it up like this. Or we can have it down, the orange wood. Yeah, I like it like that, actually. Okay. There we go. The villain has to have successes, yeah. I mean, that's why he works in Star Wars. Darth Vader is having successes through all 3 movies. Megamind is a bad villain. Yeah, I could see that. Oh yeah, Strictania is not really on this map. So I'm actually going to put a couple of little extra doodads here. I'm going to put... I'm going to put this way. that. Down here, and we're going to put an arrow. Put like an arrow pointing. And then I'm going to have one up here. Up here. Kind of up here. Wherever we want to put it. Okay, then we'll have arrows that go with those. Okay, so I have most of my place names here. I mean, I could add more. You know, we could add like the names of the... Oh, you need to add the mountains. Okay, let's add the mountains here. Bones. Mountains. Alright, so these are going in the middle. Whoops. Okay. Have to kind of fit everything in here, you know? These need to be a little bit curved this way. Yeah. This is really where we want it to be. Now I gotta figure out how to put the other things around here. Let's go back to the dots. I'm going to erase one. Size this up. Add another dot here. This. Actually size it up quite a bit. I'm going to kind of hug the mountains like this, right? And I'll show you what I do to kind of, because I just put this stuff over the terrain, and like if I were really doing it appropriately, I would probably, you know, I'd probably do something different. Right, like I draw the terrain like around the words, I guess. You know what I mean? See if I can get this just a little bit better. There we go. And we can also do this and just kind of straighten it out a little bit. We can make it more curved, less curved. My tendency is to really want it to be curved nicely. You know, if I had more time, or like, I don't know, if I had the inclination, I would probably just do all the text by hand, because I think it looks cool, but like, I don't know. We'll do this for now. Maybe when I do like the turbo-sized one, I'll do it all by hand. Down to dots. Put a dot here. Let's shrink it down to about. There you go. All right. So this part's easy. Let's see what the chat's doing. Russell Kirkpatrick makes great maps for his books. In fact, you'd say he spends too much time on the maps to the detriment of the story. Yeah, see, I draw the maps like after the story's done. And to me, this is just a place where stories take place, right? And I want to give you a gesture towards, like, you know, the fact that it's a fantasy map. You know, so it's accurate, right? Like, it's accurate where things are, but it's not, it's a gestural thing as far as where these features are. A good way to make a compelling protagonist or even side characters to give them an aspiration and an absolute moral they won't break, and then bring those two things into conflict. Yep, that's a good idea. Yeah, you have to have the antagonist have a goal. Like, they have to have a goal too, and that goal has to be something that's against whatever the protagonist is doing. Oh, there's one more place name I forgot. About out of time. Brown Mountains. Okay. This is the last little area here. It's these brown mountains in the north. Right here. Actually, let's do it the other way. Or we could do it on a path as well, right? Like, that's an option. Just to, like, make it a path. Right, these are the Brown Mountains. This whole range is. So why don't I'm going to put this over here for now. I'm going to Orcish Drylands. Let's hide you for a minute. Let's do a freeform path. And we'll just draw like so. Then we will click in it and make it much smaller than that. Then, of course, we can, from there, size it up to 16. And you can see why, like, a lot of times this path tool just doesn't work that great. Let me, I'm just going to delete that. Let's do, instead of freeform path, let's do a curved path. Curvature pin tool. See if we can get like a little better path here. Then we'll click it here. Oh my gosh, can we do a different, there we go. Brown. All right, that works a lot better, okay, than the freeform one. Let's go ahead and size it up to about 16. Good, perfect. Then we can get it down in here, and of course we can also spread it out a lot more to get those get these oops. Brown Mountains. All right. See, that looks pretty cool, like that. Then just delete that. Where's the Orcish Drylands? I'll shrink it down a little bit. We don't need that to be quite so big. All right, there we go. Then see, sometimes you end up with like this bad kerning, and you can hopefully fix it. Like you can take these two and shrink them down to like a lot smaller so that they're way closer together. So that gets rid of some of that kerning issue. And then you can do this one as like 100, even 200 to get around that curve. Because it's kind of a weird little curve area. And you can also kind of, kind of shift stuff over. And then we can also, let's shrink it down. 16 feels too big. Let's do 14. It's better. A little bit better. Get a little bit bigger. There we go. I feel like I like it at 16. But I like that alignment a lot better. Okay. And this, let's have over here. Pull this up a little bit. There we go. The Brown Mountains. Yeah, this is the other thing. It's like, could I think of a more creative name? It's like, yeah, but that's the way we name stuff. You know, we tend to name stuff according to. We tend to name stuff like according to. We give things like not super interesting names. Is my point. Okay. So to get this stuff to pop off, it's really easy. So what I might do is I'm gonna make a group with everything. So I have a group 1. I'm just gonna call this text, and universally I can really easily create a drop shadow that instead of being a shadow, we're going to make it white. You can't see the color picker, but here it is. Make it white. Okay. So when we make it white, it's just going to, you know, basically give it a little white drop shadow. And we can make that drop shadow like more or less, but we want the distance to be 0. And you can see it'll create like a blur around it. We actually want it a little tighter than that. So we can turn the spread up and turn the size down, and see then you end up with just a very small blur. Another option is actually to put like a white stroke around the letters, which would look, let me show you what that would look like. So instead of color, we just go white and we make it, you know, maybe like 2 pixels. And that's all you need, like, is 2 pixels. And then that will create enough of an outline over like geographic things that you don't need it, right? I realize my dots are slightly transparent for some reason. I didn't intend that. Maybe that's why, because I clicked it. Let's go back to dots. Okay. Yeah. I think that's why I had that flow thing on there. Whoops. No big deal. We'll redo them at size 50 for this guy and that guy. And then we want size 100 for that guy. And for this guy. And is there anything else that's slightly clearer? Let's go down to 75. when you put all this in black and white, it should still be pretty visible. Let's go back and check our little drop shadows here. So I want the drop shadow to be a little bit, you know, it'll just kind of blur stuff a little bit behind it. And that'll look okay. Last thing to do is to draw a couple of arrows, I think, and then we're done. I think there's supposed to be some more mountains down here, but I'm going to skip them for right now. So let's make another layer. Let's collapse the text layer. Let's make it, we'll just do it on the dots layer, and I'm going to put it back on the Wacom tablet because I am going to draw this. It's so annoying to kind of switch it onto the other thing, and then my music stops. There we go. All right. Let's pull this back down here. Almost done here. Okay. Always pausing. It's like, are you sure you want to? I could say, you know, I could do this with the line tool, but we'll try it with this, okay? Want this collapsed. Let's do it. Yeah, we needed way less than that. Let's go down to about 18 points. See if that's too big. Yeah, that's too big. We're on it. Let's do 12. I feel like that looks bad. Do that arrows a little better. Like that. There we go. There we go. Perfect. You know what, though? I kind of want Lotharia to be up here, and also, I just think it'll look better kind of curved. Because I like the curved. Now let's do the paintbrush on the dots layer. There we go. All right, there we go. That's pretty good. Now, you want to see, let's check what it's going to look like here. We're going to go to adjustments. We're going to create a black and white layer. So that's what it's going to look like with black and white, which is, you know, looks pretty good. Everything looks really legible, and the red makes it pop for sure, but we don't need all the red to tell where stuff is. Oh, high toll is hidden. Okay. Layers. All right. Text. One of them is hidden. Which one? Where did high toll go? It's not there. Did I accidentally delete it? Oh, maybe I did. Okay. Whoops. Oh, there it is. Yeah, let's delete that. Ireland. Where's this one? Delete that. I'm not sure what that is, but I don't know, I'm deleting it. Clean this stuff up a little bit. That's that. That's our sketch. Okay, I accidentally deleted it, I guess, so let's do a new one. I'm pull this out where I can see it a little bit better. See it up close a little bit better. Oh, I realized I didn't show you anything that I was doing there. Whoops. Sorry. Okay. Oh yeah, black and white. So let's do that adjustment real quick. Oops. He's turning everything gray. I want it to turn black. That's not doing anything. There it is. Okay. Turn that off. Okay. Oops. There we go. All right. So that's what it'll look like in black and white, which is pretty good. We do need to, within text, add one more. That'll say height. Nope, not that. Nope. Come on. All right, find a blank spot over here. All right, we're going to write this. It's going to say height tool. There you go. Oh yeah, then we have to put the name of the map on here. I don't know why that disappeared, but must have done it on accident. Oops. And then like you can turn off the black and white. Find this guy. Shrink him down. I'm going to put him up here. And yeah, let's do this. Hide you, since you can't decide what I'm putting on. Okay, there we go. Excellent. Brown mountains. There you go. There we go. Now, let's go down here. We're going to put the name of the map down here, which is going to be how did I do it here? Oh, yes. Put it like that. Suppose I could do it like that again. Put it up top. I kind of want to put it down here this time. What font did I use? Okay, Cinzel. that is going to be Sinzel. No. Sinzel regular. All right. It's nice and big. Oops. See, I named it this, and we have Ferala here. We're just like one country over. So, I don't know. What's it called? We're going to make this Sinzel decorative. Make it look like I did there. I used the fancy R and a fancy B. All right, easy. Fancy R. And there's the only fancy letters. Okay. Let's call it the... We're still in the center. It's not even the lower. It is still the center. I'm just going to call it the center. Let's... check our kerning here. That's another thing we'll do. But before I finally ship this, I will double check all the kerning for everything I did. But that's it. That's the map. I might change the color here. So let's change the color to green. Right? And that's probably good. And, we could do even green for the country letters, right? Get this green. Let's do that. That looks pretty good for our color map. There we go. Boom. I think we're good. I'm way over time. I need to get off here and try to eat a little bit more food. So thanks so much, guys, for hanging out with me. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and having a little bit of fun. I will see you all next time. I'll be back on Wednesday, and we'll probably be formatting the book then. Until then, you can back the book here. And, of course, you can join the Patreon over here. There you go. All right. And I'll link the music channel too. Not too many subscribers over there. That's how it is. There you go. All right. So I feel good about that. Let's take a look at it one more time. And we can even share it on social media if we want to. Actually, one thing I'm going to do here is this is going to be bold. Make that bold. And that's regular. Actually, I don't like it bold. Let's make it regular. Okay, that's good. Thanks, folks. Have a great one. See you all next time.